Recording in progress.
Councillor Neville Atkinson. Any further apologies? Thank you. Can we move that all? We accept his apology, please. Councillor Hall, seconded. Sandra, thank you. All those in favour of the apology being accepted, please say, raise your hands. Thank you. Conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest? Don't appear to be any conflicts of interest. Confirmation of our previous minutes. Do we have any questions on our previous minutes, please? Please raise your hand. No questions? Or do we have a mover to accept the minutes of our previous meeting? Councillor Williams, and a seconder? I'll second. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Or raise your hands. Thank you. Carried. Any matters arising from the previous minutes? None? All right, thank you. There are no presentations and deputations at this time. So now we go on to reports. Enterprise North Canterbury 6 monthly financial report and promotions business plan for the period ended 31st of December 2021 and draft statement of intent for the year ended 30th of June 2023. And welcome to Heather from Enterprise North Canterbury and your team. You have the floor, Heather.
Thank you. We're just going to share our screen thanks to Miles's wonderful technical support. Go back one slide. Yeah, just the entry side. There we are. Thank you for having us, and we're really here and pleased to present to you our 6 month report. You will have received 2 reports, one for Enterprise North Canterbury and one for the district promotion reports. So you have taken those as read. So what we will do though is I'll get Janine and myself and Miles to take you through what we considered were the key highlights for that 6 month period and what we've got planned for the remaining 6 months. So off you go, Miles.
All right. So I'll start with the highlights, the big successes from the last 6 months for business attraction. The big one, of course, is Aqualand starting, which we'll go into bigger things later on and next year, but I'll get into that for the next 6 months. And over the last 6 months, it's been a lot of small businesses wanting help starting up. That's been a theme since COVID started. Lots of people wanting to start up their own businesses. So over the last 6 months, we helped 91 startups one way or another, and we can hand on heart say 15 new startups in the district would not have started without our help. 30 of those were one-on-one assistance where we sit down with them and help them through their planning process. And I can't read what that says there because you're covered with faces. Oh, yes. And we also, 34 new businesses to the district we promoted through our newsletter and through our Facebook feed, which we really enjoy doing. And we always hope if it sends a couple of people to the new business and helps them get started successfully, that's a win. So talking about business attraction, the key projects for the next 6 months, back in with the WOW Aquasports Park. So Aqualand has proven very successful. They got slightly higher numbers than they were expecting during the summer months. They closed on Sunday. And I'm assisting them with the completion of their investment prospectus. But regardless of that, they're looking at the wakeboard cable park as the next stage on the north side of the river. So they're hoping to have that up and running next summer.
Turn down by the chamber.
Sorry, what was that?
No, sorry, that was just a disturbance from council officers. So carry on. Sorry.
No, that's all good. But yeah, helping to look at speeding up investment opportunities to get the full water park up and running as quickly as possible. And also investigating new funding opportunities. I just wrote a letter of support for them yesterday for a funding option that we're looking at for some of the infrastructure for that. Pegasus Bay Trail, still trying with that. We've currently got 2 funding applications in place. And we're hoping to hear back from one soon, but we're getting positive sounds from another. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get the money to actually improve those trails and get a high quality cycle trail all the way up from the Waimakariri to the actually river. That would be blimmin' awesome. And this is an interesting one, the Value Add Economic Hub. This is actually in Huranui because that's where the energy is. So there's methane conversion from Cave Valley, but it will result in, just in the first stage, at least 100 jobs, most of which we see being filled with Waimakariri residents. And we're in the process of putting together the business plan on that, attracting investors, and there's a couple of funding opportunities towards that we're working on as well. So those are really the big shiny projects for the next 6 months. And yes, I'm working on the new ENC website and the invest and the business support sections. And you can see there's new ENC brands scattered through this. But yeah, it's just better. We're also taking the opportunity to get rid of the fluff, put more crunch in, and better design the website from what it is now. We've already got a really good website, but we can do better. And that is business traction. Short and sweet.
Thank you.
So, is it waimakariri? Which button is it? That right? No, that one there. So the highlights were obviously getting our brand developed and our website created and getting out there and showing the world the new look and feel for Visit Waimakariri and for the district. So we had a new marketing strategy developed, which goes over 12 months. And as I showed you last time we met, we went out via magazines, newspapers, radio, back of buses, and digital via EDMs and social media. So I've delivered the spring campaign and have, and in that last 6 months, commenced the summer, which is now finished. We've got a new official visitor guide that is now out, and hopefully you've seen that. It's been distributed widely to transport, accommodation, and around New Zealand. So there was 25,000 printed, and we had 40 advertisers in there. And for the next 6 months, we're going to develop the next marketing strategy. So this time, the first one was an overall look at the district, what we have, and to get us on the map. And so now we're going to drill deeper. So I'll be able to explain more of that to you when we get to that point. And inside that will be a substantial digital strategy in line with the marketing strategy, but to really look at what's out there, what platforms we can use, how we can get our message out stronger, better, in a contemporary way, but also to our absolute target audience as well. I want to get out and work with businesses more to create marketable products and some real good suggested itineraries for people, just how you use the district. Like this is, they've seen what we have, and now we can show them how to use it. I will be coordinating the autumn and winter campaign. So obviously in the middle of getting the autumn campaign sorted now. And then also with the cycle trail, working with Christchurch NZ et al. Or the others to develop a product that will be a very strong marketable product. And always updating the cycle collateral and website functionality to showcase our cycleway. So just working with a designer at the moment to how people can access our information to make it easier to get around, to see what we've got, and chunkable, snackable rides and longer. So you were clicking it before, not now.
Sorry.
There you go. And over to the boss.
I'm in charge of the money, so that makes sense. The event funding has come in 2 streams, and I outlined that in the report. The continuation of the Waimakariri District Council event funding that we administer. We had 10 applications that we considered. I didn't consider. I have an independent panel, of course, which is Robin Brown, Claire Gifford, and Christine Wootton. Considered 10 applications. 8 were successful, 2 didn't qualify, and they were awarded a total of 18,000. Now, I must say, a few of those events haven't gone ahead, like the Kaiapoi boat carnival, but they are going to retain some of the funding in the grant because it's just been postponed, and that's the case for quite a few of those events. So we're not taking the money back. We also have a regional event funding, and money is sitting in our account from MB, but we only received the 1 application, and that was for the Light Festival because they wanted to grow it, and unfortunately that hasn't gone ahead either. It's planned for April. So that's the status quo at the moment. However, we are opening the fund again this month for both funds. We run them at the same time through the same panel, and we really need to stimulate major events. That's what that regional event funding is. And it's a very quiet time for events, and I think that's why there's not the same uptake. But they're not going to take that money back, and we're going to ring fence the council money, so it will still remain in the pot for event funding, and we have that audited every year, as you know. What we would like to do is work with the event venue owners and managers and see if they can actually come up with some great ideas around what events they could host, because often we have a good handle on who the event managers are, but the venues, like the Rangiora Town Hall, like Main Power Stadium, we've actually got some really cool events like Lace Spark Function, even getting them to work together to look at business events, and Joan knows all about that. So I'm planning on the next 6 months pulling together, doing an audit of the event venues, pulling together those event owners and talking about a plan going forward. So that's in this coming period. The Information Centre, as I said in the report, I've been working with Council to address the challenging and changing nature of information services here in Kaiapoi. And this was raised at Council last week, and we're pleased that the councillors have provided E&C with a direction on a suitable and cost-effective option. So that there is our 6-month report. Before I take you through the statement of intent, I probably won't need to take you through that, but were there any questions regarding the 6-month reports of the team here in front? We can stop sharing the screen.
Have we got any hands raised? Anybody? Yes, there we go. Al.
Yeah, thanks, Miles. You mentioned the cable wakeboard project from WOW. I'm pretty sure you said on the North Bank, the Regen team, now incorporated in the community board, aren't actually aware of this. Can you tell us what patch of water and et cetera we're talking about?
I'm not entirely sure. This is what Tony told me he was planning for next summer if he could get it across the line. So
well, it must be on the south side on the lake where the Aqualand is. It can't be on the north side because they'd have to dig a lake.
So true.
Okay.
Any other questions on the last 6 months? No, everybody seems to be pretty happy there. So we'll carry on with the intent.
Yeah. Okay. Our statement of intent that the board considered, and Dan was obviously on the board and was approved in draft to be dispatched to both councils, is very much along the same lines as last year, with more emphasis this year on survive and thrive. We're going to be facing a very difficult year for businesses this financial year, and it's not going to be business as usual for E&C. We are almost in disaster management again. There is a lot of businesses hemorrhaging, and we're actually putting together a plan that our team, working with Council Community Development team, working with MSD, there's also a new employment liaison service that the MSD have set up specifically to manage businesses that are going to let staff go, because we think that's a reality, and business to help them either with their deployment or retention. So MSD are going to step in. They've just employed 6 new employment liaison service officers. So it's going to be a combined effort of a very strong and well coordinated community, and that for which we're very grateful to be part of at Enterprise North Canterbury. So the statement of intent, as I said, hasn't changed a great deal. Our emphasis will be always on supporting businesses to run the promotion contract to the best of our ability. The promotion plan, district annual plan, gets put to the council, I think, in May for approval. So it goes through our board as a draft, and then that district promotion plan for 12 months comes to the council for your review. You will also see, or you may not see, we're actually going to be not running workshops in the next 12 months. We're going to pull back. We've had to cancel every workshop that we've put up. It's a lot of work for no return, and it's just not the right time. We've done this before in the past. In hard times, the 2 things that go in business is marketing and training. Those businesses are concentrating on paying rent and paying staff. So we know that to fluff around the edges and run workshops is not the right time. So I pulled that out of the statement of intent for the next 12 months. So that is really a summary that I put towards the board, and they support this direction. So it is up to the council to consider that. If they wish to make changes, it comes back to the board, and then we present it. We consider any of your changes at that point. I think that's correct, Dan, isn't it? So,
That's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's the end of your report. So is there any discussion or any comments, or anyone have any questions for Heather and her team? Sandra.
Yes, thank you. I just wondered, we've had discussion in the past about reporting on really the successes and failures in a data set. Are you keeping tabs on comings and goings within the district as far as businesses folding? And well, I mean, you gave us the startups.
Yeah.
Is that a regular report into the board? Because I'm not aware, and it may have come past me, and I've not recognised it. Are you putting together some of this data for us?
We do, but we are not always aware when businesses close down. Quite often when they close down, they'll do it quietly. So where we find out about it, we do note it and we do report on it.
We also, Sandra, get an annual
from Stats New Zealand.
Stats New Zealand, and that's births and deaths, and we'd be happy to give that to you. We do have a recent one that we provided to the board.
Yeah, I think the latest one is 2021, so it's not up to date as knowing which businesses closed, but it does give you an idea of the trend of what's happening.
So we can flick that through to you, Sandra.
Yeah, well, to everybody, that would be great. But do you actually have broken down into the towns, the workforce employed locally, and what do you have that is reported more than annually, or is it just that one? I mean, I'm trying to get an understanding of the economic development or downturn in a more specific fashion than we've been talking about. Well, I don't know that you don't get some of the stats, or that they're gettable, and it may be that policy and strategy at the council also gets it. But I would like to understand, because I don't have a feel now. I mean, I have a feel that things are turning down a bit. I don't know just how much locally that affects the Waimakariri district, and I would like some data if that was possible.
I'll see how far I can drill that down for you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you. Philip, you have a question.
Yes, thanks, Heather, Miles and Janine. In reading the comments, the business awards are excellent, and I was very disappointed they didn't proceed. I just wondered some of the feedback regarding the sustainability category, whether you'll be looking at dealing with that one differently. Sustainability is becoming quite a serious issue that people are concerned about.
What do you mean in terms of dealing with it just differently? Oh, you're frozen.
You're frozen.
Well, there was a comment from other people at the hang on.
We'll wait for you, Philip.
I'll stop the video and hopefully the sound improves.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear?
Yes.
We'd like to see your face though, Philip. Oh, sorry. Your
Hear
video.
me?
Yes.
Right. I'll bring that back later. I appear to be having internet issues for the first time.
Oh dear. Well, we can have your question then, please. Oops. We've lost you, Philip.
From the participants about sustainability category.
You're quite.
Did that come through?
You're quite broken, so we're probably better to see your face and see what's happening.
Read your lips.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh dear, he is.
Try again, Philip.
You can see me, but you can't hear me.
Yes, we can hear
I
you.
just wondered, given some of the comments by participants in the sustainability category, if you're going to look at doing that differently next year.
I know who you're talking about, and yes, we are. We're looking at getting an expert as a judge. We're looking at changing the entire judging for the next awards and how that works. So we've got a plan in place.
Right. Thank you.
That's good. I think we got the question finally. Thank you, Philip. Are there any other further questions? That's fine. All right, I think. Okay. Comments? Any comments? No. So I think we have the recommendation. So to receive the report A, B, C, and D. So please, do I have a mover for those to receive the reports, please? Paul moved. Paul moved and Dan seconded. Thank you. Any other comments? No. Right of reply. Oh, comment from you, Dan. Yes, sorry. You're muted, Dan. Kirsten, I've got you.
Thank you. Just to say that I want to acknowledge the work that Enterprise North of Canterbury do in our district. They have my full support. They do an excellent job here, and you've heard two particularly excellent presentations, and of course Heather's, which always shows just how much work is done to support our community, particularly at a very difficult time. And I just want to acknowledge the support that we receive. Also the feedback that we gave the other day around the eyesight, we're really appreciative of ENC taking on board that and adapting the service to make sure it's kept here. It's really important for our district that remains, and that was a good conversation that we informally had as colleagues about that. And it's just all the little things that are done, like Heather coming along to support myself and Jim Harland and our Deputy Mayor that went along to see Sutton Tools, and just that regular contact that you provide to our businesses at times when they need it. And that's that support that's shown makes a real difference and just helps those businesses that are having particularly tough times know that they're supported. There has been quite a discussion at the board level around future opportunities, and at a strategic day just recently, and I'm really encouraged with the plan there, and we'll brief the council on that in the fullness of time once that's developed a bit further. But there's a lot of good work going on. You met Claire Gifford the other day, who's the new chair, and we've also got 2 new board members, and Grant Edmondson and James Flanagan, both from 2 significant businesses in this district, which are really starting to add to the flavour of expertise that we have at the board table. So I just really want to acknowledge, Heather, you and the team, the board, and all the work that goes on to support our district. And just to say you have my full support, and thanks for all the work you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Any other further comments? Paul, would any right of reply from you?
Actually, I never got my beginning reply to start.
Well, there you go. Have a go now.
But I'll just echo what Dan said. So thank you very much.
That's cool. Kirsten, I think you've got your hand up. You'd like to say something? Off you go.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I certainly want to commend E&C for what they've been doing through this very, very difficult time. I constantly hear glowing reports about Miles, about how he's supporting businesses out there in the community. And I'm just delighted that we have got this EDA that's so strong and so experienced at disaster management, even though we don't want to be. I do, however, have serious misgivings about continuing as an eyesite. They're closing all over the country. I've made that position quite clear all the way through. I don't think Kaiapoi needs an eyesite. I don't even think waimakariri necessarily needs an eyesite. They've become a bit of a thing of the past. Unfortunately, I really wish that money could be diverted into more digital marketing and more marketing into Christchurch for day marketing. However, the council's spoken, and it's always a democracy. So I've just wanted to make my position quite clear on that, because I don't support that continuing. And however, I do wish E&C all the best, and I really want to see some of the initiatives that were raised in the working group on district promotion really rolled out into the district. So I'm excited to see that some of those will be. I know COVID's put a bit of a hangover on that, but I'd love to see more focus on the rural areas of Waimakariri and Oxford and Cust and some of the beautiful countryside we've got out here, rather than just the town centres. We've spent a lot of time on town centres, but one of our biggest attractions is our natural beauty. So I'll be really delighted to see everything from cycle trails to craft trails coming out this way in the future. And once we're able to travel a bit more, once this virus has hopefully settled down, I really am excited about the future of what our district can be in terms of inviting day visitors from Christchurch.
Thank you, Kirsten. And I would really like to add my little bit as well, as having a lot to do with Heather and her team with my portfolios. And I really appreciate everything they're doing for the district. And I really appreciate the fact that they're a separate entity that can raise additional funds, which helps to our economic development and to further raise funds for all the promotion of our district as well. And in particular, hopefully we can get some more funding down the track for our cycleways, which connecting through to Huranui, that would be wonderful. But thank you very much for all your work. I know it's been a very difficult year, and all the best for this year. And let's hope that we can have some events, because I know that our stadium particularly could do us some events that would help us along the way. So if we can get something happening there, that would be my thoughts and hopes for the future for this year. So having said that, if there's no other further comments, I would like to, with all those in favour of receiving this report, please raise your hands. Thank you. And thank you so much, Heather, Janine and Miles, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Great report. Right, there we go. So we'll turn the page and we go now to number 5.2, Te Kohaka to Haytara Trust Statement of Intent for the year ending 30th of June 2023. And I believe this is Greg. Welcome, Greg Burns. The presentation. There we go. It's all yours. The floor is yours, or the Zoom is yours.
Kia ora tātou. I presume that you've all been diligent councillors and read the report, so I'll just consider that has been done. And as you'll see, there's just a number of changes. Some are because we have are hoping to have completed work by the end of this financial year. And the big ones, of course, for the new year are focused on getting the Kairaki Beach sections that the trust owns leased, and some income, additional income coming into the trust, sort of helping us towards some relative independence when it comes to funding. And of course, work to ensure that we are well ahead of getting ourselves a new headquarters and education research centre. And that's pretty much it. The only other one is talking about some additional forge-urn restoration sites. Some of you, especially Kirsten, will know that we've been doing quite a bit of work on the forge-urns themselves. This is using native sand binding plants to build new dunes along the Northern Pegasus Bay section of the Waimakariri. And we've been very successful with that. I've actually got no, it's okay. I pushed the mute button, sorry. We've got this Friday, actually, I've got two Waimakariri District Council staff and a Christchurch City Council ranger who has an area of expertise in forge-urn restoration coming out. And we're going to look at another few sites, especially down the Waikuku Beach end. You're probably all aware that's the place where is probably the most critical when it comes to coastal protection. There's a 90-degree face on that dune. And of course, a number of the pine trees have died and are now falling into the forge-urn beach area, which means that if we were to get some sort of series of high tides, some sort of extended sort of wave action, it's very vulnerable into the back of the holiday park down there, and we're hoping that we can actually get a plan in place so that we can start in the new financial year to get that secured. And that's about all. I'm happy to take any questions that people may have.
Right. Any questions, please, of Greg? Kirsten.
Yes, kia ora, Greg. Nice to see you. Wondering, have you ever gone and presented to the Youth Council at all at Waimakariri? I imagine their environmental group would be quite interested in what you've been doing.
No, I haven't. And as most of you would be aware, I'd be happy to go to the opening of a paper bag. So sign me up.
Oh dear, that's nice, Greg. All right, any other further questions or comments for Greg? Okay, so could I please have a mover, Paul, and a seconder, Kirsten, that we accept the statement of intent. Paul, would you like to say something?
Oh, yes, I will. Yeah, thanks, Greg. I actually only hear any positive things about you guys, your work down there. So getting no negatives is a real good positive from my side of things. So thank you very much. Well done.
Kirsten, any comment from you?
Yes, Greg, once again, just wonderful that you're not only producing great environmental outcomes, but wonderful community outcomes as well, with people being able to contribute and help protect the natural environment. So please keep us posted on all your planting days, everything that we can do to help to spread the word, and if there's any other things that we can do going forward. Your work continues to amaze me. Not only do you come to meetings at the drop of a hat, you also seem to produce miraculous things on the smell of an oily rag. So I'm very, very proud of the work that's being achieved at the Trust, and thank you to all the Trust members for all the hard work they do and how they help particularly young people get involved in environmental protection.
Thank you, Kirsten. And Dan, you'd like to say something?
I just echo the comments from colleagues, and particularly acknowledge Councillor Blackie, who's our representative there, who does a lot of work in that space and certainly supports all the initiatives. Greg's just one of those amazing people that we have working for us. I've worked with Greg for a number of years now, and the role that he's got at Te Kahaka Tuatara Trust is just a perfect one and a perfect fit for us. and all the work that he does there that supports our community. The Biota Node, which I know the Rotary Club I'm involved with is particularly proud of that, in the name of former colleague of ours, Councillor Allen, and it's something that we're particularly proud of that, and the work that goes on there to ensure that area is regenerated. And to go there and to just walk through is just an absolute pleasure. Councillor Barnett's right, there's a lot of schools that actually aren't quite aware of that. I was approached by Southbrook School the other day, who senior students are looking to see what they can do to assist and volunteer and help in our community. And I said, well, I've got a perfect one for you. So I'll connect you, Greg, with those students who would love to come down and find out more and see what they can do. But it was one I sprung to mind the other day, and particularly the learning opportunities that they have. So if you're open for those, I think that would be a wonderful opportunity for those students who are really committed. But thanks again. It's a pleasure to support your statement of intent and all the work you do.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, Greg, you'd like to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you do want to find some negative stuff, when we don't mow the lawns down at Pegasus, I could find you a number of neighbours that don't think that we do a very good job. And currently, as the Mayor would know, a number of Pines Beach residents aren't very happy with the restoration work down at Pines Beach. So while you hear a lot of good stuff, we do have some challenges at times, but we're very lucky in that we have a solid set of trustees around the table, and we have an extremely good management plan, which means that everything is clear and mapped out. So that kind of helps. And I must apologise too. One of our trustees, Rex Anglam, is sitting beside me, but he's a bit camera shy, so he didn't want to sit with me. That's why we haven't got it up on the screen. So, and he's been nodding very positively as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And a right reply for Paul. No, you're all good. And I'd just like to further say thank you for your wonderful work, Greg. We all appreciate your passion and what you're doing for our district. So I'll now put to the vote that we accept the statement of intent for the trust. All those, raise your hands, please, in favour. Against, thank you very much, everybody. That's passed, carried. Now we go to 5.3, Greg, it's you again, for the 6-month financial statements of the trust for the period ended 31st of December 2021. So you're on the Zoom again, Greg.
Thank you. Well, the financial side of it, certainly Jeff has filled in the bits for the report there. We're travelling at the time of the 6-month report very well. We certainly have spent a lot of money after this report has been completed. But I guess like everyone, we too, even though we're tucked out of the way, we're a relatively small crew, have been impacted by COVID. We've managed to keep the place open, you know, whenever we've needed to. It's been a great site for people to recreate locally when we've had some issues last year, late last year, or sort of middle of last year. Probably the biggest issue that impacted us the first 6 months of the financial year has been we had intended to replace Christina Stett, who was our ecology ranger who moved on to the Department of Conservation pretty quickly. So we did some discussions with waimakariri around the opportunity of perhaps some of your rangers from Silverstream coming to see if there was a fit there. And we sort of, it looked promising for a while. We thought that might be an option to some full-time work for one or two of the rangers down there, and perhaps bringing some new people in. That wasn't to be. As the year went on, what we did do instead was we put on 9 staff over the summer period. And this has been phenomenal as far as the progress we've managed to make. When Christina left, one of the really important statements, I guess, from her exit interview was about how isolating it can be at times for people working in an area that's 10.5 kilometres long. You can be in quite a wilderness setting by yourself for long periods of time. I'm talking days. Not so bad for old men like me who don't like people. But it turned out to be phenomenal, the amount of work that we managed to get over that summer period. So while council funds us for this full-time role of ecology, one of the things the trust did want to talk with Audit and Risk and then the council about was, rather than having someone over the winter months for that type of work, because it is fair to say it's predominantly planting and paperwork and keeping trails open, the summer is when we do the majority of our work. And certainly supplementing it with a number of people is really good. What was particularly advantageous to not only the trust, but also the people involved, was we had both Zita and Emily were third-year ecology students, so they put some practice around their university studies. Brianna was from Nelson Polytechnic doing the practical component of her ranger course with NELMAC, whatever the hell it's called up there. Sorry, I've forgotten the name. NELMAC's the late, I think. We also had two young men from Conservation Volunteers New Zealand who had been trained up and were looking to go out into the big wide world. We gave them practical experience over summer, and they've since gone on and got full-time jobs, which we're very happy about. So there is a mixed feeling whether the advantage to us is actually having a number of people working here rather than one person solely out there trudging through our wetlands and whatever it may be. But that's certainly food for thought.
I think that sounds that sounds really good to give those young ones the experience, and if you get a team going, you can achieve so much more than one person on their own slogging away. So I think that's obviously been great success. So we'll look forward to seeing how we can progress that, I'm sure. Any comments or any questions or discussion on the financial statements for Greg? No, you're pretty happy with that, I'm sure. All right, could I please have a mover and a seconder to accept these financial statements? I'll move. Got a seconder? Paul. Right. Well, I think that, thank you, Greg, once again for your good work that you're doing, and keep up, and we'll look forward to seeing how we can progress and look after what happens next year as well. So Paul, would you like to say something?
I just again thank Greg. Thank you.
Right, anyone else like to comment? Right, so I won't need to write a reply, so put your hands up to accept the financial statements. Thank you for 6 months. So that's carried.
Kia ora, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much for your wonderful work, and we look forward to cycling away amongst all the lovely greenery down Pegasus Waikaku Way.
Well, thank you.
Now we go to 5.4, and it's a cybersecurity status report. Do we have Andy here? Andy?
Yes.
Hello, Andy. Hello, and welcome. You're going to do the presentation on our cyber security status report. Thank you. Off you go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. Cyber security support is fairly brief, and I'll take it as being read. The two key highlights for me in the report are with regards to maintaining our compliance. We're doing well. We're either maintaining or improving against the benchmark, which is great news. It's sometimes difficult even just to keep maintaining that level, but we are improving in certain areas as well. And the other key takeaway is that our awareness training is going very well as well. So those that are participating in our training are actually getting a good understanding and are actually understanding the key messages that are coming through on that. So that's really all I had with regards to the report itself. I do have a short presentation to take you through a little bit more detail on the work programme, but are there any? Quite happy to take questions on the report itself.
Philip, you'd have a question.
Hello, Andy. Hopefully
Hi,
you can hear me. I just wondered, have you been doing any IT work with elected members? We've had one or two spurious looking emails that we shouldn't be opening. Is that something you've been doing, or is that coming from an external party we don't know of, like the Russians?
Maybe I should be testing you all, but no, that's nothing to do with IT itself. These things just happen every now and again. We get that, there's peaks and troughs of activity. I don't know how much the Russians are interested in what's going on at Waimakariri District Council, but you never know. So no, these are just part and parcel of daily activity we see, Phil. And I know that you've had a couple, and well spotted. You can see the name's correct, but the email's certainly spurious in terms of its name. So we just need to keep vigilant and keep our eye out for these things.
When we get those, what should we do with them? I've sent them to you, thinking you'll know what to do with them. Are you the correct person, or is there someone else we should notify?
And normally the help desk, but what we can do is then block these Gmail addresses so that they can't attack anybody else within the community. But more than happy, if you can't get through the help desk, just forward them on to me, and I'll make sure that they're blocked as well.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you. Any further questions on that? And you have a presentation now, Andy, I understand. Go for it.
Can you see that?
Yep. No. Here we go. Andy has started.
Cool. So the main thing in cyber security world is when it's going well, nobody sees what's going on, and that's great. But there has been a fair amount of work that's been going on in the background with regards to cyber security. One of the biggest projects we've done this year was to change our antivirus software. Now that's the software that sits on all our devices, our laptops and our desktops, that protects us against malicious files. So we've actually recently just changed from our current product, which is previous product, which is Sophos, and we're now using Microsoft Defender. It's given us a lot bigger visibility of our devices that are connected to our network. But the key thing for me in this one is that it just doesn't look for files like Sophos did. It actually can detect suspicious behavior as well coming from devices. So it gives us an awful lot more chance to intercept and respond to activity on our network. So that has improved our visibility quite dramatically. We're also changing over again to a Microsoft product to allow us to manage our mobile devices in a more granular and proactive way. I think the key benefit for this one is that we can actually create profiles on devices. So that means you can actually have one device and have two profiles. So it's probably something in the future, once we've done a bit more testing on it, that we would probably put out to councillors so that you have one device and you can separate your personal stuff away from work stuff. So we're looking forward and to getting that up and running over the next few months. This also has been a big project for us, and it happens in the background because we do a lot of this out of hours, but we have been working on our network to make it an awful lot more secure. Our last penetration test highlighted the fact that our network was not as robust as we would like it to be. And basically what we've done is we segment it off so that if one part of the network is infected, we can protect all the other parts. And the way we've segmented it at the moment is based on buildings. So each building itself becomes a segment on the network. So that allows us to protect the network in an awful lot more robust way and granular way as well. One of the things that we have been picked up on is in recent audits is around our documentation and our processes. But one of the things that we're picking up on is how to do more work around our ITDR plan. So we've reviewed that. We've started doing training for the IT staff on what to do in the event of a disaster recovery, and we're also creating an environment that allows us to do that testing. We effectively call it an electronic sandpit, so we can stand up our systems in that and test them without actually impacting on anybody's use of them. And last but not least, we are also improving our incident response plan. And that's just how we will react if we actually do have a cyber incident. So we're in the process of setting up a scenario so that we can do some desktop simulations to make sure that our processes and procedures are all in place and that we can react to these in a fast and appropriate way. So that's basically it for the presentation. Any particular questions?
Any questions? Nobody's got their hand up. I think we must be all pretty happy with our cyber security, Andy. So could I please have a mover, please, that we accept the status report? Kirsten, a mover, seconder? I'll second it. Oh, thank you. Would you like to say something there, Kirsten?
It's just very, thank you very much. This is an area that's actually critically important to our business. IT is going to get more and more important. So I really appreciate what you've done, Andy, in reviewing all this, particularly remote working. We've had a lot of trouble with the internet, as shown by Philip earlier, and we need to make sure that everything is secure. And I do have a lot of trouble with separating home and work items on computers. So that is something that I really would love to hear more about in the future. So thank you for all the work you do on keeping us safe and keeping our IT systems working correctly.
Okay, thank you.
I'd second that. Are there any further comments? All those in favour of accepting this report of Andy's, please raise your hands. Carried. Thank you very much, Andy. Keep up the great work.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're up to, Sandra, you're all good. Number 6, portfolio updates. Now, so my report, which is Audit, Risk, Long-Term and Excellence Program. The annual plan is out for consultation. Council Controlled Organisation Enterprise North Canterbury is being audited in March. KTT Trust is being audited in April, both relating back to June 2021. The Arts Collection is also being audited in April. Audited statements will probably come to May Audit and Risk Committee. And the Excellence Program, there's nothing to report. So that's all from me. So then we go to Customer Service, Councillor Kirsten.
Yes, thank you. Report from Marie about customer services. We've had 2 teams operating to protect staff as much as possible in the customer service area. That's not possible in Kaiapoi, but it is done in Rangiora. Foot traffic's been actually very low, particularly at Rangiora since the vaccination pass has been required. Most people have been okay about that. There's been a few instances, but most of the time, and the staff have just have had training on how to cope with that. We've got a very new team at Rangiora, so if you are passing, please say hi to them, introduce yourself. We've got some wonderful new people in there. Their new dog registrations preparation is coming up for 1st of July, so collecting as many emails and phone contacts prior, so we're hoping to do more and more of that online. Obviously, one of the key things people are going to be interested in is the district rating reevaluation later this year. It's tentatively looking at the 1st of August 2022 with implementation late September at the moment. LIMS have been a little bit low at the moment, but up and down. January, February has been a bit quieter. And We're also participating in the LIN's change of ownership notices module, which means that when a property is sold, the council's notified of change of ownership at the same time that the solicitor applies to change the property title. So that means it's quicker for us to update the database in change of ownership, and all Canterbury councils are actually involved and subscribed to this service now. So that's my report. If there's any questions, we're happy to answer them.
I think we're all pretty happy with that. Thank you, Kirsten. Great report. And communications will, Neville isn't here today, so we can't receive his report. So we go into any further questions that you would like to ask. Kirsten.
Just, Madam Chair, to note for the record, apologies, I couldn't get into the Zoom meeting. I was in the waiting room, but I couldn't get through, so I was a little late for the meeting. My apologies.
No worries, no worries. We all had those issues today somehow. That's fine. Any urgent general business? No, that's good. Well, therefore, we'll close this Audit and Risk Committee meeting at 10:57. Thank you very much for your patience and your time and your Zooming. Well done. We survived that one.